Welcome to Real Money Talks, how to make money, manage money, and invest money. Your Real Money Talks host, Laurel Langmeyer, gets straight to the point about what it actually takes to make money and build lasting wealth in today's changing economic climate. If you're ready to get the financial results you've always dreamed of, keep listening. Real Money Talks is the right place for you. And now here's your host, Laurel Langmeyer.
Hi, this is Laurel. Welcome back to Laurel's Real Money Talks. I am here today with Proskiw, and we're in Alberta, Canada. He's in our 3-day off Wall Street assets, and he does a lot of off Wall Street real estate. So he's an expert in fix and flips. So talk to him a little bit, just introduce yourself and what your background is, and then I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions.
Yes, my background. My background is I'm a real estate investor, and what we do is we look for properties that are distressed, or that are abandoned, or that need some repair, and we buy them and we fix them and we flip them. But before we do that, we have to analyze them.
And so let's talk about some of the pitfalls that people, as they're getting into fix and flips, do. So let's start with the home inspection. Why? I think a lot of people skip them. Why do you think that it's necessary?
Well, yeah, you can go in the house and you can take a look at all of the pieces that are there and what's happened. And some things are obvious to you. But with the home inspector, they're going to check places that you can't find and can't see. They're going to be looking at furnaces. They have to open them up. You don't probably have the skills for what's happening inside a furnace. The electrical panels have to be checked. And what they do is they go through the whole house. They look at the electrical, they look at the plumbing and whatnot, and they can give you insight into what needs to be repaired, which helps you better estimate how much to buy the house for.
Okay, so then once you get the bid, right,
yes.
How do you do, I'm going to ask a question before this other one, which is if you don't have enough money to finish the project, but how do you know how to estimate? Because I think a lot of people go wrong and don't have the money because they don't know how to budget the repairs.
If you're going to buy a home and you're going to do fix and flipping, you have to take some lessons on how to do an ARV. That means the after repair value of the house. Okay. Because you're going to have to subtract from that all the problems that are in the house. That's the reason for the inspection to start off with. Yeah. Because that'll help you find out what's wrong, and you can estimate how much it's going to cost you to have to repair the house.
Oh, awesome.
And then you find out from there how much you can do in the house, because that leads to other problems down the road when you want to try selling it, and you find out that you didn't fix it right.
Yeah. And so how come so many people, or in your experience, how many people go over budget? And what do they do when they're over budget? Because a lot of people, that's where they go into foreclosure, or they lose all their profits at that moment.
It's actually anybody who goes into real estate investing, the biggest faux pas is they think they know everything about how to fix a home and how to do this properly. Uh-huh. And what happens? They lose money, or they barely break even, and it's really, really tough on them, because then all of a sudden they have to do all sorts of other things, like cut back on what they're going to repair, or they're going to have to dig out of their own pocket and make a loss and end up with a loss in their project.
So how would you coach somebody, because there's a lot of folks that are listening out there from all over the world, and fix and flip, I love it because it's a great way to have profit and money really quickly, but how would you coach them on staying patient? Because a lot of people, I think, jump into things because they're so urgent, they're at the last part of the money that they have. How would you coach them on how to be patient?
They have to take the time to check the properties, to find properties that are going to give them a profit value that they can afford. They also have to watch, I'm going to tie this in with another question because they're sort of related. Everybody watches the shows on TV where people fix and flip homes. But if they don't analyze the area that they're in, they try building a $500,000 home in a $300,000 property. Yep. And that's what everybody around is doing. So if they fix it up, nobody's going to buy the house afterwards. Right. So that's the other side of what happens. You have expenses that you have in front because you have to fix them up, and then they over fix them for that area.
So last question is, if in a real good fix and flip business model,
Yes.
how many do you think that somebody could do in a year? How many do you do? How many could you advise somebody if they're brand new? Could they get 6 done in a year, 4 done in a year?
It depends if they've set up their team properly.
Okay.
If they're trying to do it by themselves, they may be able to do 1 a month if they know how to do everything. But there's always unexpected things that happen, and they have to hire out to other people, and that delays what's going on. If they have a crew that's well-oiled and they know what they're doing, the sky's the limit is how many they can do. Because then after that, it's just adding more trained people to help them do the flips.
So back to everything we talked about, there's a system to business, system to becoming a millionaire. So you're at Laurel's Real Money Talks, and if you have any questions or you want to have a chat with Randy, you go to asklaurel.com, put in your name, phone number, and email, and tell us a little bit about you, and then just say, hey, would like a private conversation and talk to Randy about the pitfalls of fix and flips, and maybe you want to be one of his money investors, because he's always looking for deals.
Always.
Thank you. Thanks for being on. See you next time.
Thank you for joining Laurel for this segment of Real Money Talks, how to make money, manage money, and invest money. To continue this new conversation and to find free resources to support your wealth creation, visit asklaurel.com/podcast gifts. That's ASKLORAL.com/podcast gifts. Thanks for listening and join us again soon. New episodes are released every week.